This week, get your skates on for security games.
Yes! Yes!
Ball games. High jumps.
This is what it feels like to be on the moon.
And robot drinks. This is the business card of our first guest on the programme this week, Google's self-proclaimed security princess. Parisa Tabriz is one of the biggest names in cybersecurity. The buck stops with her if, for example, Chrome, Google's browser, is hacked. And if you've ever seen these while you're browsing, these little padlocks help us to know if the link between your computer or your phone and a website is secure. Parisa is behind Google's push to get more websites to use the encrypted HTTPS protocol. Now, not all hackers are bad guys, of course. Parisa employs around 200 of them in a specialist unit called Project Zero. They hack all sorts of software before the bad guys do, so that any vulnerabilities can be spotted and fixed. They're like a police force, but they all wear hoodies, because obviously that's all that hackers ever wear, apparently. Anyway, Dan Simmons went to chat about all these things with Parisa at the world's biggest cybersecurity expo, Black Hat.
The Security Princess is informal, controversial, and unusually for the industry, she's a woman. So honours even with the paper scissors thing, we agreed to start there.
Who gave you the title of Security Princess?
So it's self-appointed.
You came up with it?
I came up with it myself. When I started at Google, I had a job title, Information Security Engineer in the Information Security Engineering team, which I thought was a mouthful and also not very meaningful. And so I was actually going to go to a conference, and they told me you need to make business cards. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to have a meaningless job title, I'm at least going to make it sort of cute and whimsical. And it served me well, because I think there's a lot of people that are really serious in security and come from defense. You know, they have their 4-star, generals and certifications. And I think when they see a business card that says Security Princess, it is a bit shocking, and they smile, and then it's actually just a nice icebreaker. So.
And on a serious note, you're one of very few women at your level in the security industry, even in the IT industry, but specifically within the security industry. What's it like?
Yeah, when I joined Chrome to lead their security team, I was the only woman. And now we have a whole team that's actually majority women, and they're the ones who are actually responsible for all the work we've seen to push HTTPS on the web.
What are things that you pick up on that you think, actually, I reckon that probably does put quite a few women off?
I hear a lot of stories, and very subtle things, like you go to an event and there's women that are kind of dressed in scantily clad outfits, and that's like the major woman presence there. That doesn't make you feel included and respected as a professional. Small things like support for mothers so that they can actually participate, I think could actually make environments much more inclusive.
One of Parisa's achievements is to persuade or gently bully web pages to stop using HTTP and switch to the HTTPS protocol to deliver their content. Although not everyone's convinced, the vast majority of big websites have switched, especially once Chrome started warning users the old system was simply insecure.
I think reasons in the past were like, it's going to be expensive, it's going to make things slow, it's not going to be worth the effort. But what I think is, for that blog, you still want the people reading it, even if it's your friends, to actually get the content of your blog and not have, the ISP interject ads or other content into your blog. And the only way you get that is with HTTPS.
Is there a scenario where if a web page is HTTP, Google Chrome won't deliver it in the future?
I don't think so.
No.
Chrome at the end of the day is a browser, and it's meant to help users use the web, and HTTP is a protocol that the web has relied on, and so we want users to be able to access that content over any protocol. But We also want to indicate to users that, look, you can't have any confidence in how this data was actually transmitted to you.
Project Zero gets hackers to find bugs in any software on the web. They give vendors 90 days to fix it, or they go public.
Doing that actually has incentivized, I think, more change in industry in terms of being able to fix security bugs faster.
Because before you started, 25% of those problems got sorted in 90 days, I understand.
Yes.
And now it's what?
And now a vast majority, like 98% of issues are fixed within the 90-day disclosure policy.
Is there something on the horizon that you are worried about?
You know, we're seeing computers in everything now. It used to be this big clunky machine that you had in your house, and now everything is a computer. Screens in your house, and speakers, and devices, and your car. I think there's a lot to be figured out, but I'm an optimist. We'll figure it out.
You have to be a genius to be in your position.
I am not a genius.
No, you must be a genius.
No, I'm really not a genius. Actually, if there's one thing I would love for you and everyone else to know is I'm not a genius. I work hard. I embrace learning, and I think, you know, as you get older, you're kind of afraid to fail, but that's how you learn. You know, I see my parents being very afraid of technology and feeling like I don't know the right way to do it, and so they don't want to try. But technology is always evolving, so you have to try things, and very rarely will you do something that will render the machine completely unusable and explode. And so I think embracing learning and trying things is important as you get older.
Can we do one more? Because I know I lost the first one, so.
Sure.
Yeah?
Okay.
3 again?
One, okay, got it.
Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Until next time, Parisa, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, over the years, we've tried more than our fair share of weird and wonderful transport devices. There was the one wheel, the air wheel, the something or other. Blimey, there was even this self-queuing robo-chair in Japan. The granddaddy of all of these self-balancing devices was, of course, the Segway. And as the Click team took part in the Segway World Cup recently, we celebrated the wonders of the smaller, lighter sensors, which gave rise to this entirely new category of transport. And if you thought we'd now exhausted all the wacky ways that you can get around, you'd be wrong. We sent Chris Fox to the IFA Tech Expo in Berlin to get his hands, well actually his feet, on the very latest set of self-balancing wheels.
The worst thing about roller skates, for me at least, is the process of putting them on and taking them off, so it's nice to see that these have no straps at all. I can just step on, and in minutes I'll be rolling around as gracefully as these professional dancers, although I did notice that even they had difficulties now and again.
I've already mastered the art of roller skating, and I can ride a self-balancing unicycle, sort of. So this should be a doddle. Okay, it's already moving. Why? Okay. Ooh, I'm not. Okay.
Like a Segway, these skates are self-balancing. You just step on and lean forward to go. And with a top speed of about 7 miles an hour, they go pretty fast, at least for a beginner.
Okay. To turn, I have to apply pressure on just one foot. Let's do a corner here. Nailed it.
And after I relaxed and did a few laps of the training circuit, I did actually get better at it.
Yeah. I've just about reached that point where my legs kind of understand it now, and I'm a lot more comfortable doing it.
This is Segway's vision for the skates, not business people riding to work in their suits, but carefree youngsters zipping around the city and laughing. Though it's worth bearing in mind that lots of countries have banned electric ridables like these skates from the streets.
I know in the United Kingdom they are still forbidden on the streets. If you go to Paris, all of the products, for example, are perfectly legal and allowed to ride on the streets. So you will see a lot more of them in cities like Paris or many other cities.
So how do these compare to other ridables, like the so-called hoverboard? Well, I'm inclined to think they look a little less silly, and I'm told having your feet separated lets you learn some cool tricks, although I'm probably not quite at that level yet.
One-legged. Okay, now I've got some more practice to do.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. Let's start with a quick tour of IFA Berlin. First up, sit back and don't relax as you are engulfed in this amazingly over-engineered motorised cockpit. The Acer Predator Thronos comes with a reclining seat, deep impact vibration function and support for 3 monitors. Time to start saving up. No price as yet, but expect this rig to be unbelievably expensive. With that sort of spec, I'm hoping it comes with a cup holder. Other IFA bites include this mystifying take on a smart speaker from design-centric Bang & Olufsen. Roll it to control the volume. It'll roll back on its own. Why not? And Polaroid's latest offering lets possessive picture takers give away the paper version and keep a copy on their smartphones. OK, that's enough from Berlin. It was also the week that ZMP, the autonomous driving company, partnered with a Japanese taxi firm to make a driverless taxi. The 2-week trial saw vehicles travelling 5 kilometres autonomously, though they did have a backup driver and assistant on board. They aim to implement the tech for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Compare that cutting-edge technology trial with this from Jaguar Land Rover. Researchers think giant, googly eyes on an autonomous pod will reassure pedestrians that they have been seen. It's actually a test to help understand the perception of safety. Well, the googly eyes can stay as long as that pod has a sweet sound system.
Now, in my experience, one of the big themes at almost every IFA Tech show is the smart home, which usually means the very latest version of a fridge with a camera in it, in case you can't be bothered to open the door. But Lara Lewington has managed to hunt down some actually useful smart homery.
There's been no shortage of smart home devices over the past few years, but which ones would you actually want? This small plastic bin is the prototype of something called the Bindicator. The idea is it'll connect to your local council's website and will then change colour dependent on which bin needs to be collected. So it does solve a problem, but the question is, do you really want it sitting in your house? One thing that isn't a matter of opinion, though, is that we all want to make sure our homes are safe. Yes, it has the sensors. It even has a photo sensor, which will take 5 photographs every time a movement triggers it. That's, of course, only when the alarm is actually set. But this is the real difference. A fog dispenser, which will fill the room with fog. So if somebody is about to steal something, well, they might not even be able to find it. Once the alarm is set, the control centre will be able to access sound and pictures. The activation of just one sensor is then enough to alert a human to trigger this fog if needed. Whoa! Oh, it's quite something. I'm glad I didn't get the job of being the fake burglar. Oh, it does catch in your throat a bit, and also it's a bit stingy on your eyes, but I have been assured that it's perfectly safe. It's passed some sort of EU regulations, and apparently it leaves no residue inside anyone's home, because obviously that would be slightly off-putting. Right now, I think I just want to move out of the way. I was also warned it may irritate pets. But of course, it would be better to stop a would-be burglar at the first hurdle, the front door. This isn't the first smart doorbell that I've shown you, but it is claiming to be the first that offers person detection and facial recognition.
Simon is at the front door.
Simon's at the front door. Hello, Simon. I'm just going to come and get you. Full functionality does require a subscription. It can then recognise faces as well as unlock live video recordings, which will be available up to 5 days after they were captured. You can also pretend to be in when you're out, or of course, vice versa. They do say there's safety in numbers though, so maybe you'd like some company. If you were starting to think that your home virtual assistant was a little bit low tech, then maybe it's because you've been waiting for a home robot. Now here you can do video calls hands-free. It also has the other functions that you'd expect from a virtual assistant. Hey Temmie, what's the weather in London today?
Here is the weather in London, United Kingdom. Today, 21 degrees Celsius and mostly cloudy throughout the day.
Through facial recognition and identifying your shape, it can also identify you and follow you around. I just need to introduce myself. There we go. It knows who I am, so come with me. Slightly unnerving. Great. I think my phone just needs a bit more power. Pop that there. Actually, I think, Sardi, you look a bit thirsty. I'll pass you a drink. Don't worry, no need to move. Hey, Temmie, go to the sofa.
I'm on my way to the sofa.
Brilliant, thanks. It recognised go to the sofa, it's just not done it. Hey, Temmie, go to the sofa.
I didn't get that.
Go to the sofa.
I'm going to the sofa.
Thank you. It does need a strong Wi-Fi connection, and we all know that voice recognition still has a way to go. But still, you'd better make sure that your guests weren't too thirsty.
Oh well, better luck next time. That was Lara. Now, last summer I travelled to Los Angeles to meet two guys who had an ambitious plan. They were going to revolutionise fun. Right, what should we play? What's your favourite game? Brent Bushnell and Eric Grabman are two engineers who had a dream to take their travelling high-tech roadshow and give it a permanent home in this big top. It's taken a while, longer than planned actually, but the Two Bit Circus opening night is this week, and Nick Queck has been to see the final preparations for the big show.
Today I'm doing some serious journalism. The circus is behind schedule. I've rolled up my sleeves, I've pinned down the bosses in charge, and I'm not leaving without answers.
It took a little bit longer to get a few different things greenlit than we needed, but a month behind for as big a project it is, I consider that ahead of schedule.
Well, you said early 2018 when you spoke to us last time.
Yeah, that's true. So of the updated data, we're ahead of schedule.
That's that then. One thing's for sure though, the circus is finally in town, with the same professional clowns at the helm. Same blue shirt, same mad mohawk.
Eric and I are both trained clowns, and Eric was actually in a running circus for years. We're both also engineers. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, but the playful and the whimsy that you get from clowning, I think, is particularly wonderful when it comes to public entertainment.
2-Bit is a surreal playland, a fluorescent mix of code, clowning, and good old-fashioned nostalgia.
This is Balloon Pop, but we mixed it with a Connect 3 game. Oh, try to match 3 and get balloons to disappear. We have crazy cameras up in the ceiling, lighting systems to make the cameras able to see what color the balls are. This is a fun game, isn't it?
I mean, I'm pretending to listen to what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm extremely distracted right now. How many years is this taking you to perfect?
The tech or the ball throwing?
Both.
This is the culmination of many, many hours of programming.
Oh, the trumpets!
Trumpets!
When you hit a virtual trumpet, pumps in the ceiling blast air into your face. Rather startling.
I've been trumpeted.
Do you want to feel what it's like to destroy a building?
Yes, I do.
Straight stuff!
How much breakage is required?
As you can! This actually uses a spinning laser rangefinder, like the kind you find on autonomous cars.
That's so the computer knows exactly where the ball's hitting.
How are the floors moving?
Giant subwoofers under your feet.
Really?
We often start with a configuration or a sensor that we want to use, and then kind of make something fun around it. That's how this one got started anyway.
Okay, I've worked up quite a sweat. What's next?
Let's bring it down a little bit. Welcome.
Whoa.
To the bridge of the Space Squad Infallible.
Ah, the real brain behind the operations right here, I see.
There's a weapons station, an engineering station, a science station, a captain station, and at each one of these consoles, a different person is going to help fly this ship into space.
How many bits, I guess, are part of the game?
It's a good question. You know, it's hard to count the number of games. We like to think in terms of the number of people that can be entertained.
Entrance is free, but each game is pay to play. In the City of Angels, today's hot ticket can soon become yesterday's sideshow. So, how are the guys going to keep the crowd coming back for more?
Everything we've put into Two Bit Circus is a platform for development. And so, look, VR can transport you to another world. But you can go to any number of different worlds with VR. And we want to explore different experiences. We can build different arcade games on top of the arcade platforms we've built. Our story rooms are episodic. Because they're all software-based, we can create new experiences in those rooms. So we can go deeper with every single one of these experiences without having to build more physical hardware.
Oh, I'm in a shed.
We'll soon see if this circus is a sellout show or straight to DVD. Well, if they're ready in time.
Yeah, the winner! In my defense, I may have played it before. I may have even made it.
Welcome, astronaut. You're about to embark on your first extravehicular activity on the moon. The suit you'll be wearing will consist of several elements designed to enhance your experience. A suspended safety harness, a personal telemetry system to track your body movements, and finally, a Samsung Gear VR headset and controller to help you see and control objects in your environment.
In the run-up to the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing next year, creative studio Framestore and Samsung have been touring the world with their Lunar VR experience called A Moon for All Mankind.
Only 12 white male American astronauts have ever walked on the moon. No other nationalities, no other gender, no other race. And so we really like the idea of being able to open up the moon for everybody.
Now, while VR headsets can track and respond to your head movements, and some will allow you to move around in 3D virtual space, to really feel like you're on the moon, you're gonna have to lose some weight. This beast is based on NASA's own variable gravity simulator called Argos, the Active Response Gravity Offload System. Okay, the rig is now going to weigh me and then work out what my weight would be on the moon. And then it knows how much extra lift to give me whenever I jump and how slowly to make me descend in order to simulate 1/6 gravity. Wow. This is what it feels like to be on the moon. And the experience hasn't even started yet, and I'm having a good time. Unlike more advanced VR headsets, the Gear VR can only tell which way your head is pointing. Your vertical position and that of your arms and legs are actually tracked by the sensors on your suit. Okay, I'm going to go over to the edge of the crater now. The Earth looks amazing. Now, unfortunately, if you are sensitive to a mismatch between your senses, the fact that you think you're moving forward across the lunar surface, whereas actually you're just going up and down, may cause a little bit of discomfort. I'm going to get out of here because there seems to be a meteor shower. It certainly makes for an exhilarating ride, though. Definitely more dramatic than any of the lunar astronauts would have wanted. Oh my goodness, my helmet's cracked. Mission accomplished. Oh, I survived, but it was close. Well, that was certainly an experience that you can't get anywhere on Earth, apart from here, I suppose. That's it from us for this week. Don't forget that we live on Facebook and on Twitter too. @BBC Click is the address you need for that. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.
Take your first leap.